Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Post Movie Podcast. I'm Steve Head.
I'm John Black.
And in this episode, we're going to talk about new Blu-ray and DVD releases, a.k.a. home video.
or these
go
days,
anywhere with this.
And these days, it's home video, phone video, car video, whatever device you have.
Downloads,
digital
iTunes,
copies.
Digital copies.
I get DVDs now, and it's
Wait
like there's 5 discs in there because of the same movie, because it's Blu-ray extras.
Well, they count the
regular.
digital copy as a disc.
Right.
When I see 3-disc set, I'm thinking, that's 3 discs I can put into my computer and play.
No.
And it's not.
Then when you add the 3D,
it's Blu-ray and digital copy.
To get a movie, it costs $50 because it's Blu-ray, 3D, digital, and regular. And the regular one's like the redheaded stepchild of the whole package because it has no features, no nothing. Usually, it doesn't even have the design on the DVD. It's just kind of like
I don't think we've talked about that much before, but yes, they're wanting people to switch up to Blu-ray, so they put the good extra features that I love on the Blu-ray.
That's how they made me get rid of my 8-tracks. They suddenly weren't cool.
Yeah.
My Laserdisc, not cool anymore.
Wow. So. When Laserdiscs came out, I wanted a Laserdisc so bad, but with all my responsibilities, I couldn't justify the expense. I mean, it was so expensive, and the discs were $50, $60, $100. I couldn't do it. And there's still, in my heart today, I still kind of want a Laserdisc player, because 20 years ago I really wanted one, but I wouldn't put myself, I couldn't afford it.
I stayed when I first moved to the Cape. I stayed at a house in Bourne, a friend's house during the winter, and he had a Laserdisc player with 10 discs. So I've seen those 10 movies. I know.
Now you can get them for like $5.
I know Catch-22 by heart because it was the only disc I liked out of the box.
Man, do you remember Laser Craze downtown on
the tag game?
No, Laser Craze, the Laserdisc store on Newbury Street.
No, there was such a
thing?
It
was your okay. Do you remember the Victor Hugo bookstore?
Avenue Victor Hugo, yeah.
On Newbury Street.
Where
this was a little further. It was maybe a door or two down.
Where was Avenue
Laser
Victor
Craze.
Hugo?
This was late 80s, early 90s. Victor Hugo, it was on
Newbury
Street.
Newbury Street. Up near San.
Oh, Victor Hugo, man, had some great stuff.
It was across the street from Newbury Comics.
Fiction there. Yeah.
Well,
pretty much.
Sort of. That ended Newbury Street.
They had some great film stuff. There was a time in the late 80s, mid 80s, 90s. They had some good film stuff. Yeah. Do you remember under Newbury Do you remember under Newbury Comics? There's like Condom World right now.
Right.
That used to be a movie poster store.
Really?
Yeah, with just all kinds of awesome framed posters. You could just go down there, half sheets, 1 sheets, broad sheets, Subway.
Now you can buy rubber sheets.
Now it's all condoms.
Oh, condoms all the time.
Sex toys. And across the street was...
Did you say potpourri of sex toys?
Yeah. And then
it's a cornucopia of sexual devices.
And across the street was Laser Craze.
I don't remember that. Yeah. But I didn't do the Laserdisc.
I didn't, as I said. But I loved to fucking go in there and browse, man.
Browsing the
extra features on those Laserdiscs, man. I just was like, wow. To me, that was just like, wow. Those were the first audio commentaries. So exciting for John to know about that.
Yes, I felt a little movement down there, just the idea of it. The commentary.
John, so we got to get to talking about some home video releases.
Yes.
John, what entertained you this week?
It's funny. This week I made a point of avoiding the predictable. Like, the big releases that come out, we get those. And it's like, I saw this in theaters 6 months ago. Why would I... But it's extras, so it is.
Because, Cowboys and Aliens came out.
Right.
I was lukewarm about it. I liked it. There was some stuff I really didn't like about it. You can go back and listen to our review. But the disc comes out. It's got all the extra stuff, which I love.
Right.
So, it's one of those things that maybe sometimes the making of the movie is more entertaining than the movie itself.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, as they recently parodied in Community, Hearts of Darkness, Apocalypse Now,
Wait, they're saying that's better than the original movie?
Yeah.
What?
It was in an episode of Community. And, for example, like The Day After Tomorrow, there's a documentary on there that I think is just more it's good. It's
right.
good. There's a awesome documentary on the making of Kick-Ass on the Kick-Ass disc. There's awesome stuff in these extra features. So maybe there's always that chance that you're going to get a diamond
in the extra
features.
I will send you the link to this. Did you get the link for the new Planet of the Apes trailer?
No. What are you talking about? They're re-releasing Planet of the Apes?
No, the Rise of the Planet of the Apes. It comes out on
next week or so.
Next week, right?
Yeah, I did actually watch that, but I was saving. Watching it.
We're gonna have to do a whole show on that. But they've got a new trailer up. That's an interactive trailer, and as the trailer goes along, there's a bar underneath, and it has like bullet points on it. It'll go like as you're watching the trailer, all of a sudden it hits a bullet hole, and it goes, Andy Serkis. This is the first time they use stop motion in a live atmosphere, not on a soundstage. And you can click on that. It's like the DVD extras are part of the trailer too. So as you're watching the regular trailer, you can click and see part of the DVD back behind the scenes stuff included in the trailer. It's pretty cool. Great movie.
You know what? I was kind of excited to hear that they're releasing a couple of Jerry Lewis titles on
Laserdisc.
On Laserdisc. No, on Blu-ray. I forget the company. It's not Paramount, but they're releasing Geisha Boy and Boing, and then they're also doing. He did. Maybe you can help me with this. He did a tribute to Al Jolson.
Okay.
And I think
called the Jazz Singer.
Let me type this in. Hold on.
Remember that old Jerry Lewis skit where he would pretend he was typing? I think it was in the big store.
Yeah, I'm going to cut this out.
One of Jerry's set pieces.
They're coming out with Geisha Boy and Boing, a film I guess he did in the late 60s with Tony Curtis.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so this other company called Inception is releasing Jerry Lewis's The Jazz Singer. Mm-hmm. They're marketing it. They're selling it as a rare discovery from Jerry Lewis's personal collection.
Right.
You can watch this on YouTube in black and white, but this is the first time people will be able to see it as it was broadcast in color originally in 1959. So it's an early example of color TV and something that's never been seen before. So Jerry Lewis gave it to this company called Inception, and they are going to put it out on DVD on February 7th. So there'll probably be, I suspect there'll be some press around that. And then a couple days later, on the 12th, another company's releasing Geisha Boy and
Boing. I saw Boing on Broadway in its revival a couple years ago, and it was hilarious. Right. I went because it was Gina Gershon, and
what's Boing about?
This guy is Tony Curtis is an airline pilot who dates stewardesses according to their flight schedules. So he knows, the hot chick from TWA will be in his town Monday through Tuesday, and then he gets the hot one from American Airlines, and he gets the hot one from another airline. So he has them all, this rotating Rolodex of hot stewardesses coming through his apartment. And then all the airlines change the flight schedules, and it kind of becomes farcical. He has to hide them, and there's a lot of slapstick comedy.
So where does Jerry Lewis?
Jerry must be the the sidekick to Tony who wants the scraps of the stewardess.
And they're also releasing Rockabye Baby. Have you ever seen that one? These are three I haven't seen. So,
but it's interesting that you said the Jazz Singer was one of the first color TV specials or whatever it was. The early days of color TV, people, because of what the films he makes, people don't realize what a technical innovator Jerry Lewis was. He's the reason that people have playback on when they're filming, or he built that giant soundstage for Cinderfella, I think it was, and all those technical innovations.
Was it the play? I thought he built the playback for the Bellboy.
Well, no, he built like the world's biggest indoor
Oh, right.
sound
No,
stage.
the biggest sound-stage was for Ladies' Man.
Was that it?
Which the inside of the
college dorm?
Yeah, the ladies' place.
Yeah. So he did a lot, and it's funny when that box set we were looking at, all the extras on that are interesting, but the voice commentaries are awful. Because it's Jerry Lewis. It's Steve Lawrence going, "You're pretty funny, Jerry," and that's pretty much all the commentary it is.
Yeah, I haven't. I listened to commentaries, but based on your.
Yeah, avoid those.
Yes, I have not. So also, I guess we should say there's a new Jerry Lewis documentary that's coming out. It's the Method to the Jerry Lewis, the Method to the Madness.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be on Encore, I think this week or next. So John, be on the lookout.
I will. I'm a big Jerry fan. He was one of my dad's favorites. I remember seeing some of these movies in theaters.
I'm a fan of his too, but there's a part of me that's like, he's kind of a jerk.
Oh, in person?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's a total asshole in person.
I mean, and it comes through in some of his interviews, like in the extra features on The Nutty Professor.
Yeah, he's a dick.
A jerk. Yeah. Like, he really will fire you without question if you, deviate from the path.
Right.
That he's,
that he is proclaimed.
Built. So.
I can separate the man from his art, and I do think what he does is art, so.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting documentary to see.
Yeah. Did you see that? Did I ever loan you that? I've got a box set of his TV shows.
No.
Yeah, they're great.
No, I mean, I know that there's like one or two. Remember that Jack Benny disc we reviewed?
Yeah.
Back? Is he on there a couple times or just once?
I don't know. I think just once, him and Dean. But he had his own variety show I've got on DVD.
You know what I discovered on eBay? He had a series of comics, Jerry Lewis comics.
Uh-huh.
Where the hell did this come from?
Everything. How much are they? Can we buy them?
I think they sold for like $44
each.
No, it was a series of 6.
Complete.
The Adventures of Jerry Lewis.
I would buy that, not for $44.
John, what do you got?
Oh, so anyway, what I was saying is we used I avoided the usual suspects this week and went for stuff I don't think people will find at their local wherever they buy DVDs nowadays. And the first one is called Dexter Romweber, Two-Headed Cow. Now, when you hear that, what would you think you're going to see?
Some animated thing from the Cartoon Network.
Nope. It's a rock and roll documentary about this guy, Dexter Romweber, and his drummer, Crow. They were kind of like a fledgling, I'd say, 90s rockabilly band, and their life on the road over 20 years, and his descent into madness while on the road. And then, he's still doing it today. He's still out there.
Descending into madness?
Yeah. Well, now he's at least on meds to control that part of him. But
they can do that now.
I knew nothing about the guy. And, when
What's his name again? I'm sorry.
Dexter Romweber. And they say there's appearances by Mojo Nixon, Jack White, Zine Cervenka, Nico Case. Jack White shows up for maybe 30 seconds and says, yeah, I listen to this guy. He's very influential. And that's the only time you see Jack White. But this guy, Dexter, is very charismatic. The music's good. It's just him and a drummer playing old rockabilly and standards and 50s music and traveling around to cheap hotels. And so they show there's black and white footage of him back in the day and then color footage of him today. And I wouldn't go out and buy his albums, but I thought the movie was fascinating.
Who's put this out?
MVD Visual, based in Oaks, Pennsylvania. Yeah, I would definitely. His band was called the Flat Duo Jets. If that rings a bell to anyone. So I would recommend that highly.
Chalk that, place that amongst the billions of amusing band names.
Yeah, it was actually named after somebody's guitar, some old 50s guy's guitar. So,
man, I'm going to go in the exact opposite direction. So going from the smallest of the small music documentaries to one of the biggest films of the late 60s, early 70s. Tora, just came out on Blu-ray. And what I want to say about this is it's not marketed in such a way as to really tell people what this release is all about. So what they've done, they released it in what do they call these? Like these mini book forms?
Yeah.
Like jewel case book things where you get like 15 pages. It's like a mini souvenirs type of case that looks like a book. You get 15 pages of basically production notes and some new photos and facts and stuff like that. I'm surprised that Fox, considering the effort they put in to release this, to fix the film, to
restore
it. Thank you for.
That's why I'm here, Steve.
all the effort they put in to digitally restore this movie, none of it is presented on the disc. They have a couple of new documentaries on it, And then they've got the extra features that were on the prior 2001 DVD release, which, commentary from the director and featurette and whatnot. I basically got the background info on the making of this disc from an article that was published online in the publication called The Hollywood Pulse, where they interviewed the fellow who was in charge of the restoration for the DVD. He manages the Fox's library. And what's interesting here, and they didn't freaking even mention this, like in any of the packaging or whatnot, is that they went back, got all the original footage they got.
Right.
They digitized everything. They created a new negative for it. They went in and removed wires. They basically CGI'd elements of this movie to bring it into the into the new world.
Right.
And then there's this sub story of the fact that Akira Kurosawa had worked on Tora for nearly 2 years. And there's in a few months they're going to be publishing a book about this, his whole Tora experience. And I think he had filmed for about 2 weeks before Zanuck and one of the producers fired him, because the way Kurosawa works is you don't tell him what to do. He basically is like a god amongst filmmakers, and he just does what he does. But working on this giant Japanese-American co-production, he had to report to the producers, and Fleischer, the director of the film, said in the commentary that it just wasn't his type of thing. It wasn't a comment on his genius. It was just that he couldn't
collaborate.
He couldn't work under the misering of the producers who needed stuff done by a certain amount of time, and that's not the way Kurosawa works. They parted ways. So what resulted was a lot of footage that was filmed by Kurosawa that didn't appear in the elements that the Fox Library had requested for the reconstruction of the film. So there's some speculation amongst Kurosawa fans online that this footage has been lost, or that Fox didn't look hard enough to get these elements.
Right.
So that's sort of the gem amongst Kurosawa fans, this lost footage. They don't cover this much in the making of the disc, but Fox has totally refurbished the film and put it back into a better shape than it actually ever was, through digital reconstruction. They've created a negative of the film that it just will blow people away. They showed it in Hawaii last week, so it's out there, a whole new print, and hopefully this print will make the rounds at repertory houses. But they really ought to have sold the DVD. Part of the selling of the DVD should have included all the effort they put into putting the film back together.
Yeah.
And actually uncovering a couple of errors that they actually fixed in this version of the film. So what you're actually getting with this Blu-ray is a slightly different version of Tora. Not only that, you're also getting 10 minutes of additional footage that was put into the Japanese release of the film. So there was the Japanese side that filmed all their sequences, and then the Americans filmed theirs. In Japan, the movie was a huge success. In America, it flopped. In Japan, this different version had 10 minutes of extra footage.
Right,
so this is what we're seeing actually for the first time on this disc.
What year did it come out?
It came out in 1970.
I saw it in theaters.
That was a hell of a thing, including an intermission. In fact, one of the errors of the film was the intermission. Some of Jerry Goldsmith's score was chopped off when they came back from the intermission, and they've put that back into this version.
And wasn't it in CinemaScope or?
Well, it was in. You're right. It wasn't in Technicolor, but it was in another sort of process that Fox has that sort of imitated Technicolor.
Yeah, I think I had to see it at the Cinerama on Hope Street, which was the only Cinerama theater in Rhode Island. But it was the kind of theater where the screen literally took up the whole front wall.
Yeah.
And as a kid...
It's an experience, really 11, seeing this film. Yeah.
I was 11 when I saw it, and I remember it being boring until shit starts blowing up.
That's exactly what Roger Ebert said in his review. He was basically saying this is boring as hell. And the attack doesn't occur until a half an hour after the intermission. You're almost going 2 hours before you get to the attack. But it is astounding, and critics have lauded it for its documentarian-like presentation of the actual events.
Right. It's not like Pearl Harbor with Ben Affleck.
Boring. I mean, they just sort of, they take so much time with these scenes, like
And there's
today
so
they
much
wouldn't even
talking.
wait for someone to hang up the telephone.
No, there's so much talking and talking. And
Yeah.
as I said earlier, when I was a kid, it was the first time I saw subtitles in a movie where they were white subtitles and the Japanese officers wore white uniforms so you couldn't see what they were saying.
But those plane shots coming in when they're first starting to
war
attack,
scene,
it's just
the battle
insane.
scenes are great.
And the making up, the photos in this book, it's kind of a shame that it's such a little tiny book because the photos of the miniatures and the life-size sets that they built are just astounding.
Yeah.
I mean, Tora is worth a giant coffee book, not this little tiny thing,
DVD holder.
Yeah, just like a little, DVD folder. But it's really worth. All right, I'm over.
You sure?
Yeah. John, what do you got?
From Australia, Underbelly, the trilogy.
Never heard of it.
It's an Australian gangster series, kind of like The Sopranos, about the drug and it takes place from the 1970s through the early 2000s. It's 3 13-episode seasons, and it's absolutely addictive.
You sound like someone who's put one disc in and regretfully has to put the other one in because
I didn't. I was not going to sit through all these discs. Yeah. But then, I watched the first one. I was like, okay, good characters, stylish violence, nudity, story, everything I like.
Yeah.
I'll watch one more. Watch the other one. More of the same, more of the same. Holy shit, they killed. What? Okay, let's see what happens in episode 3 then. Holy shit. All right, just episode 4, then I'm going to review it. Holy shit.
What
episode
year did this
5,
come out? This is new?
I think it's new. I don't know when. It doesn't say when it actually came out. But it takes place it came out in 1995 and 2004. I guess. I can't read that. Anyway, really, really intriguing, episodic gangsta TV.
Cool.
Yeah. But with 12 disc or 13 disc in a set, it's a $100 set, so maybe a Netflix.
Man, you get those expensive sets.
I do.
That's a lot of stuff to watch, man.
Baby's college fund.
Man, I got to talk about Criterion again because I just loved the new Hitchcock title they put out, The Lady Vanishes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a film from 1938, one of his British films. And, man, there are some shots in this movie that just, blew me away. Even though it's, it looks chintzy compared to certain films today.
Right.
And the humor in it, it's kind of a comedy, even though it's a thriller, even though it's it was before, Britain got into World War II, and there was some, it's one of the few films that actually sort of portrays the European sort of tension going on at the time.
Right.
The humor really, to me, it didn't really work. But I'm just amazed by some of the camera tricks that Hitchcock did, especially that scene where the guy crawled out the window on the train, to get out of his compartment and get into the next window, and the oncoming train comes into the screen. That was crazy. I mean, it must have blown people away in 1938. I was like, holy shit.
It definitely holds up. The story's strong, for that time period. It's definitely a good watch. It's not like some older movies you're like, why am I watching this just because it's a quote unquote classic?
Yeah.
But I think that one's hugely entertaining.
And Margaret Lockwood is hot, man. Got to see more of her.
She's
super cute. Just a really enjoyable film.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't recommend it highly enough. I hadn't seen it before. Well, actually, I'd seen a half hour of it before. I had it on DVD before Criterion put it out, and it's one of those things. I'll admit, I fell asleep while I was watching it. What can I tell you? I'm watching
Steve.
I got 30 Hitchcock films, So
Are you cinematically narcoleptic?
No.
You seem to fall asleep in the movies a lot.
Well, I have attention deficit disorder.
Well, yeah, but
and when I go to the movies, and sometimes when I focus, I don't, no. But watching a film, to me, it just, in a way, it focuses me and it calms me down.
Right.
And because I'm unattentive or spacey, as some people would see it, it's not. I don't choose to be that way. It's just the way my brain operates. But then when I focus, my body I just calm down. So sometimes I nod off in the theater, even though I know like before the movie that I'm tired before seeing it. Movies are in a way are very calming to me.
Yeah.
I like that. It's just probably 20% of my overall love for films is the fact that they're very calming to me.
Cool.
So
Zen. It's a Zen. Cinematic Zen.
Yeah, man, I digged it. The Lady Vanishes.
Well, let's stick with Criterion for Design for Living.
I have been hearing a lot about that.
Which is directed by Ernst Lubitsch, produced by Ernst Lubitsch, based on a play by Noel Coward and written by Ben Hesh. But it stars Frederick March, Gary Cooper, and Miriam Hopkin, and the fabulous Edward Everett Horton. Gary Cooper is an artist. Frederick March is a playwright. Miriam Hopkins is a commercial artist. She does like designs for ads and magazines. They meet on a train.
What year was this?
This was, it's funny. It's a pre-code movie, so it's 1933 before there was a rating code.
Yeah.
So this is a very adult comedy where they meet on a train. Both the men are smitten by the woman. She's smitten by the men. And so they start getting involved with each other at the same time. Even though they she makes him a better writer, she makes him a better artist. They fall in love with each other, but then one falls out of love for the other one. That goes back and forth, and finally they decide, hey, we're two good friends, no sex. And of course that lasts about 20 minutes.
Actual copulation?
No. It's 1933,
Offspring?
Steve. They keep their feet on the floor
I
if
know,
they sit on the bed. Oh, yes, but they off camera.
Maybe the keeping the foot on the floor didn't happen until the code came in. So maybe they didn't have to keep the foot on the floor.
There's every indication in the movie that she's had both men, and still can't make up her mind. But she feels she's ruining the friendship because sex is getting in the way, and she ends up marrying Edward Everett Horton, who's like this milquetoast, sexless sidekick kind of guy. It's not as the comedy isn't really sharp for me, but given the time period that it was being done, and it's racy and sexy for 1933, and still that part of it holds up. It was good. I haven't had a chance. There's a ton of extras. I haven't worked my way through them.
I shall.
There's 2
I like
discs
the
in the
cover
set.
art for it.
Yeah, it's a 2-disc set, and I only made it through the actual movie itself. Gorgeous black and white. They did a great job restoring it. And she is pretty hot. I haven't seen many Gary Cooper movies, so it was interesting to see him do light comedy.
Yeah,
like this.
it's he had been around for a long time.
Yeah,
before he got like sort of A-listed in the 40s, 50s.
Yeah. This was before High Noon, I'm sure, because he was an older man in High Noon. Yeah. So I would recommend it. Nice trip down memory lane.
Cool. Man, you know what I was digging that just came out?
No.
Fright Night. Digged it when I came out. Watched it the other night with Sarah. I mean, Colin Farrell is just good. You'll think I'm crazy, but I was like, he's never going to... He's deserving of a Best Supporting Actor nomination, I think, for Fright Night. It's the way he carries himself in this film.
I didn't think you were crazy until you
said
that.
Terrific, I
mean, I saw it twice.
It's a fun movie.
I saw it twice in theaters.
Yeah, it's basically like how to have fun watching a vampire movie.
Yeah.
I just said how to have fun making a vampire movie. That's one of the extra featurettes is how to have fun making a vampire movie. Not much for extra features on it, but just the title itself is really good.
Yeah,
and it's in the triple disc, so you get the 3D, you get the Blu-ray, you get the DVD.
The
I think it's a
Anton
disc,
Yelchin
quad disc.
Is good as the kid who discovers his neighbor's a vampire.
Yeah.
Who plays the mom?
Toni Collette.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mick Lovin as Evil Ed. It's just got an atmosphere about it that is really good. And David Tennant as the Roddy McDowall character.
Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Well, he's the Roddy McDowall character, but he is Doc. Yeah, he's a Vegas magician / vampire killer.
Yeah.
That
with a deep dark secret.
Yeah. Yeah, which is revealed well.
It's amusingly over the top.
Yeah.
And Colin Farrell's terrific. It's a good time. I mean, I would make the case that, like, in our prior episode, what I was saying about The Sitter, I mean, this is audacious in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's that good.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So,
I think the effects are good. There's just the right amount of gore. The comedy's well done.
Yeah.
And Farrell is a great vampire.
Yeah, he's just he's a pushy presence. And the scene where Anton Yelkin's character basically has to convince to his mom, Toni Collette, that the guy next door is a vampire. When he blows up the house and then chases him down on the road, that whole like half-hour segment is just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Digging it. So it's out there on Blu-ray.
I've got one more, and when I get this title, I was like, "Who sent this to me?" Astral City: A Spiritual Journey. It has that. It sounds like it should be a Deepak Chopra thing. It's got even the packaging makes it look like this is going to be all sorts of crunchy granola. It's not really. It's story of a doctor in South America who he wakes up one morning in Hades, with monsters and crawling through the sludge and slime and in terrible pain from a stomach wound he's got, and he's starving, he's cold, and then angels come and get him and bring him to heaven, where he can start redeeming his life before he gets sent back and reincarnated.
Mm-hmm.
Brazilian movie. I'm not sure who directed it.
Astral City.
Yeah. It's Philip Glass did the music. Of course, they don't show the.
It's very meditative.
No, well, it's not preachy.
Like
it's kind of beautiful. It's a little new agey, but it's beautiful to look at. Mm-hmm. It's the most expensive film in Brazilian history. If that matters to anyone, I don't think it should.
Is that a pentagram in the grass on the cover?
Maybe.
Something like that.
Maybe.
All right.
It definitely new agey stuff does get a little too much, but I thought it was a pretty good movie. So much better than I thought I expected when I saw the package.
I got a couple. John, did you see The Help?
Bad.
I haven't watched it. Sarah and I are
waiting.
I don't know. She was kind of ambivalent about it because I it was like, is it going to be like all about race issues, as one might expect? I haven't seen it, but you have. Let me. What do you think?
In a nutshell, yeah.
Is it good? I mean, is it as good as people are saying, like Best Picture?
I was amazed at how much it made at the box office. It was number one for like a month.
It did really well. I guess the older audience went to it.
I think it's, what did Sean was calling it, white guilt.
Yeah.
It's not a good movie, but, the book was a big hit, and so people who love the book, it's basically a young white girl who she gets a job on a local newspaper, and, they want her to do house cleaning tips, a column on house cleaning tips, and she decides, no, she's going to interview the black help in her neighborhood and write a book about it. And you know what? People in the South during this time period were racist. Huh.
Really?
Shocking.
Okay.
It's kind of cliche. A lot of it's cliche. A lot of it's too quickly resolved. It never really digs deep in any of the issues. But having said that, the lead actress, not the lead. Oh, why am I forgetting her name?
Emma Stone?
No.
Jessica Chastain?
No. Davis. Something Davis.
Like Viola Davis.
Viola Davis. Anyway, the lead actress, Viola Davis, the one who plays the maid who finally decides to tell her story, gives a phenomenal performance in it. And Jessica Chastain, who we saw in the she was in Tree of Life.
The Debt.
What one?
The Debt, right?
The Debt, yeah. The Debt, Tree of Life. That silly movie about the storm coming.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. She plays a buxom...
Silly movie about the storm coming. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that one. In this, she plays the buxom, bubble-headed trophy wife. And it's completely different from anything else you've seen her in. Yeah. Like this, a huge bouffant and huge boobs. And it's kind of, that's fun, but yeah, it's like a 2.
Cool. I'm looking forward to seeing it. It comes out this week. Velvet Goldmine also just came out on Blu-ray. And it's basically an upping of the prior DVD release. It's got commentary with Todd Haynes and whatnot, but looks a lot more glittery in Blu-ray.
Great movie.
Very much.
Because I was into Bowie and Iggy and all that music at the time. So to see him up on, see them portrayed on the screen by Ewan McGregor and,
the guy who freaked out. What's his name? Mr. the Fighter.
Mr. the Fighter?
Christian Bale.
No, I wasn't thinking of him. I was thinking of
Jonathan Rhys Meyers.
Right. So he was Bowie, and Ewan McGregor was Iggy Pop. Loosely based, and for those keeping score, you do get full frontal McGregor because he does those movies. He does the nod full frontal and the full frontals. This is a full frontal McGregor.
I'd forgotten about that.
You won't.
John, what also came out, which totally digging. The Simpsons, complete 14th season.
When'd you get it? Recently? Week
just
ago?
the other day. Yeah,
okay.
Sarah and I've seen like 5 of the episodes.
Right.
But we're very much looking forward to watching all the rest.
Do the Blu-rays have a lot of extras on it?
Yeah, what's great about the Simpsons Blu-rays and DVDs is the fact that they do commentaries on every episode.
Oh, cool. But is
Yeah,
it
they
different
load
cast
it up.
members or?
Yeah. It varies.
Yeah.
But they really commit themselves to the production of the DVD. So you get, like, from a fan's point of view, you get tons of stuff. And this is one of the coolest looking covers for one of the releases. It's just basically one of the alien guys.
Oh, yeah.
It's freaky. How is that for a shallow review of a DVD?
It
I'm
is.
judging it. How is
It's
that,
about ankle deep.
How is that for judging a DVD by its cover?
Ah!
So, tons of stuff.
Who writes your material?
I think we're good.
Yes, we are.
Yes, gotta love talking about Blu-rays and DVDs.
Well, the thing is, I at least, I hope people appreciate the effort because we watch a lot more than this every week. But I'm bringing only the stuff I recommend to the show.
Yeah, well, I'm actually kind of regretful because I watched a number of things this week. I actually felt like I needed to watch more stuff. Like Lionsgate sent this DVD called Game Time that I watched, and I'm like, okay, I'm all prepared to talk about it. Doesn't come out until the end of the month, so.
Right, we'll get to it.
So yeah, and I'm still trying to get through the blue, red, and white films from Krzysztof Kieslowski.
Right.
So
it's a lot of movie there.
Yeah, but it's good stuff. I get movied out. My eyes get a little sore,
That's why I go to theater.
It's I just feel like I actually should have watched more stuff. Like last week I mentioned The Rocketeer. The Rocketeer just came out. I still haven't had time to watch it yet. The whole thing, but I get to it. It looks fantastic. And they should have put they just released The Rocketeer, but there's no extra features on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What the hell? I'm spoiled. Give me more. Give me more extra features. Come on. What the hell,
Steve has spoken. Listen, Hollywood. Steve has spoken.
So, John, we're good.
Yes.
Unless you can think of anything else that came up this week.
Nothing I want to talk about.
You can listen to all of our episodes online. We're at post-movie.net, and we're on Facebook, and we're on iTunes, where if you subscribe, that would be awesome. And if you left a review, that would be even more extra awesome. And if you have any reason at all to communicate with us, that can be done via contact at post-movie.net, right, John?
Yes.
We'll actually respond.
We'll be so happy. We'll probably give you more back than you are looking for.
Until next time, I'm Steve Head.
I'm John Black.
So long, everybody.
Still John Black.